Okay, so, Krishna. You probably already have a picture in your head. Maybe it's the chubby little kid with his hand stuck in a butter pot. Maybe it's the gorgeous guy with the flute, surrounded by adoring women. Or maybe it's the calm voice in the middle of a battlefield, talking a panicking warrior down off the ledge. For hundreds of millions of people, this is one of the most beloved gods in all of Hinduism. The god of love, of protection, of basically everything good. But here's the thing that messes with your head a little. What if Krishna wasn't one guy? What if the Krishna we know today is actually a bunch of completely different figures who got stitched together over the centuries? A warrior here, a cowherd there, a philosopher, a politician, a cosmic supergod, until they all blurred into a single face. That's what a lot of historians think happened. And honestly, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let me walk you through the 5 figures who, slowly, over more than 1,000 years, became Krishna. Figure 1. The warrior. We don't start in heaven. We start with a man. Or at least a really impressive dead guy people decided to worship. The oldest layer of Krishna anyone can trace with confidence is a hero named Vāsudeva. Some scholars think his worship goes back as far as the 5th or 6th century BCE, but the rock-solid evidence shows up a bit later. Vāsudeva was the hero god of the Vrishnis, a powerful clan tied to the Yadava people around the city of Mathura. And forget the flute and the butter for a second. This guy was a protector, a leader, the kind of figure whose legend got so big that people started treating him as divine. And get this, some of the best early proof comes from a Greek guy. Around the 2nd century BCE, an ambassador named Heliodorus put up a stone pillar in central India, and on it he basically announces that he's a devotee of Vāsudeva, calling him the god of gods. A Greek diplomat, fanboying over an Indian deity in stone. Even earlier, Greek writers like Megasthenes describe a god worshipped around Mathura that they figured was kind of their version of Heracles, and a lot of historians think, yeah, that was probably Vāsudeva too. So that's the foundation, a warrior. Everything else gets built on top of him. Figure 2, the cowherd. So how does a tough clan warlord turn into the giggling, flute-playing, butter-stealing boy of Vrindavan? Different world entirely. Enter Gopala, the cowherd god. This part of Krishna seems to come from pastoral, cattle-herding communities, possibly tribes like the Abhiras who settled across western and northwestern India in the early centuries CE. These were people who lived with their herds, and they had their own gods, and it's out of that world that all the cozy, charming childhood stories probably grew. This is the Krishna everybody secretly loves the most. The kid who raids the butter, the young man who dances with the gopis, the cowherd girls, the protector who literally lifts an entire hill on one finger to shelter his village from a furious storm god. And the whole vibe here is intimate, personal. This is bhakti, a kind of devotion where God isn't some distant ruler in the sky, he's right there, in the village, getting into trouble with you. Funny thing, the big war epic, the Mahabharata, barely mentions any of this childhood stuff. These stories really blossom in later texts, like the Harivamsa and eventually the Bhagavata Purana. And the moment somebody fused stern warrior Vāsudeva with adorable cowherd Gopala, that changed everything. The faraway hero suddenly became someone you could love. Figure 3, the philosopher. All right, we've got the warrior and the lover, but there's a third Krishna. And this one's been shaping how people think for thousands of years. The wise teacher. Here's a weird little clue. One of the earliest Krishnas we can find shows up in an old text called the Chandogya Upanishad, possibly somewhere around the 8th to 6th centuries BCE. It mentions a Krishna son of Devaki who studied under a sage named Gora Angirasa. Some scholars wonder if this was an entirely separate real person, a brilliant teacher, whose ideas later got absorbed into the Krishna we know. And this is the Krishna who shows up on the battlefield in the Mahabharata at Kurukshetra. He's not there to fight. He's there as Arjuna's charioteer. And when Arjuna completely falls apart, staring across the field at his own cousins, his teachers, his family, and going, I can't do this, Krishna responds with the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important spiritual texts on the planet. Suddenly, he's not a clan leader or a village prankster. He's talking about duty, the soul, karma, the meaning of it all. He's a teacher for everyone. Figure 4, the political mastermind. But the Gita is only one slice of the Mahabharata. The rest of that epic gives us Krishna number 4. And this guy is a straight-up operator, a strategist, a kingmaker. Across the epic, Krishna is this incredibly sharp statesman of the Yadava clan, and he's cousin to both sides of the feuding family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He's said to have founded Dvaraka, a stunning fortress city, built out in the sea, though fair warning, archaeologists haven't actually confirmed that one. He tries to broker peace. He goes on a diplomatic mission to stop the war. And when peace falls apart, he becomes the brain behind the winning army. Here's the clever part. He swears he won't pick up a weapon himself. Instead, he just drives Arjuna's chariot, and from that seat, with nothing but cunning and nerve, he steers the whole war. His moves are pragmatic, sometimes a little ruthless, occasionally pretty morally gray, all of it aimed at restoring Dharma, cosmic order. This is Krishna the genius, the fixer, the guy who makes sure his side wins. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this, the whole channel is basically this: digging up the messy, surprising backstories behind the figures we think we already know. Stick around. Figure 5, God. The capital G1. So now we've got a warrior, a lover, a philosopher, and a political genius. How on earth do all of those collapse into a single supreme deity? This is the big one. This is the move that ties it all together. Krishna gets identified with Narayana and Vishnu. Now in the old Vedic world, Vishnu was already a major god, the one who keeps the cosmos in order. And Narayana was this vast universal cosmic spirit. And at first these guys were worshipped in totally separate circles from the Vāsudeva Krishna crowd. Different fan bases basically. But as Hinduism kept evolving, everything started merging. The Brahmanical tradition had this knack for absorbing popular local gods into the bigger system. And the wildly popular Vāsudeva Krishna crowd. Different fan bases basically. But as Hinduism kept evolving, everything started merging. The Brahmanical tradition had this knack for absorbing popular local gods into the bigger system. And the wildly popular Vāsudeva Krishna crowd. Different fan bases basically. But as Hinduism kept evolving, he got merged with the great pan-Indian god Vishnu. That was the masterstroke, because now Krishna isn't just a beloved hero, he's an avatar. A direct flesh and blood incarnation of the supreme god Vishnu, who came down to fix the world. And suddenly every single story snaps into place. The warrior's battles, the cowherd's romance, the Gita's wisdom, the war room strategy, all of it gets reframed as divine Leela, the cosmic play of God himself. Texts like the Bhagavata Purana, which scholars usually date to around the 9th or 10th century CE, locked this in hard, and it pushed even further, saying Krishna isn't just one avatar among many. He's Svayam Bhagavan, the Lord himself, the source every other incarnation flows out of. The local hero had officially become the boss of the entire universe. So who was Krishna? Turns out, that's the wrong question. He was never just one person. He's a river, a bunch of separate streams that flowed together over 1,000+ years until you couldn't tell where one ended and the next began. He's Vāsudeva, the warrior whose worship is literally carved in stone by a starstruck Greek. He's Gopala, the cowherd who made God feel like a friend. He's the sage who gave us the Gita. He's the strategist who won an epic war from the driver's seat. And he's the avatar of Vishnu, the cosmic everything. And the reason this matters? This blending let all kinds of people across a whole subcontinent look at one god and go, yeah, that's mine. Heroism, love, wisdom, divinity, all poured into one impossibly relatable figure. So next time you see Krishna, with a flute, a chariot wheel, or the whole cosmos balanced in his hands, remember, you're not just looking at a god who lived through history. You're looking at a whole history that's still living inside a god.